We arrived in Bangkok a number of days before the flight because I had some things to do, some things I wanted to check on, and some people I wanted to see. All in all, the trip to Bangkok was the same as most every trip to Bangkok. Getting to the airport, as usual, was the life and death thing with a crazy Thai taxi driver. We did arrive at Swampy about, I don't know, 15 minutes before the Emirates, or about 30 minutes before the Emirates thing, check-in thing was supposed to open. Made our way through the usual crowds in the big hall there. And one high point of the place was the Emirates thing was open early, and it took us about 2 minutes to present all documents, everything, and check in. From there, going through passport control and all that was pretty painless. The strange thing is, Dang, being a Thai person, has to do her exit thing on her TM card, leaving the country. She never had to do that before. She'd left a couple times on trips. But anyhow, um, as usual, once you get through the area where all the duty-free crap is, and the restaurant's full, absolutely full of people. And this is, excuse me, this is like going on 11 o'clock at night. Uh, it's a total mess. I mean, it's an absolute total mess. And once you get to the area, the whole wing where the gates are, there's nothing there but gates. So if you have to go to the toilet or anything like that while waiting to be able to get down to the departure area, you're kind of schnitzeled. And I mean, it's really a depressing kind of thing. Anyhow, economy seat's an economy seat, no matter with who. But with Emirates, this was the one leg of the trip where we didn't have a bulkhead seat because obviously all the flights leaving Thailand seemed to be full all the time. And we took off a bit late, but anyhow, 6.5 hours to Dubai, and things were okie dokie. Got one meal, I forget when because I was quite tired. Beer and wine are free in economy, and I had a couple glasses of wine to help me take a nap. Took a nap, arrived in Dubai, which is the world's fourth largest airport, and I certainly wouldn't want to try and navigate my way around the third, second, and first. But it's spread out over a huge area. I mean, people in the Middle East have, gobs of desert available. So, well, maybe the fourth largest airport in the world. Things are spread out. And we were met there because they wanted to do an overnight stay. We had about a 14-hour stay. And we arrived there the early morning hours of the morning Dubai time. And we're met by the Arabian Adventures guy rep who was taking us out to our hotel. Deng had to have her, she had her visa thing because it seems nobody wants a Thai. And me, I just went through. We got through, the guy was there, we walked down the hall, and I made sure we only had small backpacks as carry-on luggage as opposed to, the full Megillah. And got there, we waited a few minutes at Adrian Adventures, and we were put in the minibus, or, taken to the minibus, and out to the Premier Inn, which was really quite nice. Everything took moments to get checked in and all that. And as it was morning, the breakfast buffet was available. So we went to the room and, whatever, dropped our stuff off, freshened up, I guess is the word, and one thing another, and had a beautiful, beautiful breakfast buffet with plenty. The only thing they didn't have, because I wanted to get to sleep, was decaffeinated coffee, but the little coffee shop next to the restaurant had it at a reasonable price and all that. So had breakfast, went back to the room, took a shower, and went to sleep, and slept for about 4 hours and woke up about, just after noon, or just before noon, at which time the bar was opening. And I figured I would do a couple, 3 pints for medicinal purposes to be able to get more sleep. And we had this really great salad, which was chickpeas, pomegranate stuff, potato doodads, whatever, along with real shrimp, not freshwater shrimp. And it was a wonderful, wonderful salad, and it was huge. But anyhow, from there, went back to sleep basically until a little bit before checkout time, and went back to the airport, no problem. Went through, I mean, it's a long walk. It's a big airport, but there are no crowds. You don't have to stumble through people. You're not hit in the back by people pushing carts, not watching where they're going, taking selfies, and all this kind of shit. Anyhow, got through, went through immigration. No, there's a little bit of a bottleneck there, but nothing to really, you know, even I can't complain about it. Anyhow, we went through there and went to the gate area, and I mean, the gates are surrounded by restaurants and places like that. We also had our meal, for our layover meal, and that was quite nice at a buffet. And got on a flight and had a bulkhead seat, which is really nice. I mean, having a bulkhead seat makes all the difference in the world. Unfortunately, they don't put rests on the bulkheads, but that aside, everything was great, even though it is a 14-hour flight to DC. And I managed to sleep, I think, about 4 or 5 hours of it. Arrived at DC, and of course, I go to the American thing, even though I wasn't familiar with the machines and all that stuff because they didn't have it when I arrived at LAX. But anyhow, for me, it was fairly painless. For Dang, the guy asked her who helped her, or who filled out her customs form, because there were two handwriting, and she said a man on the plane. But anyhow, she got through. What happened though, one of the things that really pissed me off is because planes nowadays, there's 500 people getting off. And what people have a tendency to do is if they grab a bag thinking it's theirs, and it's not, instead of putting it back on the conveyor, they leave it sitting there. So we sat there for half an hour looking for a bag that somebody had taken off. And it's just a reminder to, people, if you take a bag off and it's not yours, please put it back on because people are looking for it. Anyhow, through customs, good buddy Sean was there, and we moved on. And the next part of this thing soon will be arrival in DC, things in DC, so on and so forth. But anyhow, I would recommend, especially I'm 68, and getting that night's sleep, which turns basically would be a 24-hour, 6.5 hour, few hour break, sitting in an airport and then back on a plane for 14 hours. I would advise, or I would recommend, or whatever, that night's sleep and that night's break, because it's a 6-hour flight, a day off, or the better part of a day off, and then a 14-hour flight. And it felt pretty good. And to make a little long story a little less long is we arrived Sunday, this is Wednesday morning, and I feel whatever normal is to me, pretty much normal wake up time, morning shift time, and all of that seems to be coming around to whatever normal might be. But anyhow, that's the trip from Bangkok to Washington, D.C. Y'all take care. Bye.